Welcome to another file handling tutorial using the C programming language. In this video, we will talk about the fputs function, which is used for writing the string values to the file stream. Now, if we talk about the syntax of this function, the name is fputs. Here, first we have to provide the pointer to the string that we want to write to the stream, and then we have to mention the file stream to which we want to write the data. Now, if you talk about the return value of this fputs, on success, it returns a non-negative value, and if any error occurs, it returns the EOF character, which is equivalent to a value of -1. So now let us see how we can use this function in our program. Now what I have done is I have used the fopen function and I have opened the output.txt in write mode. And if I open up the output.txt, this file doesn't contain any data at this particular moment. And here, if the file is not opened properly, then we are displaying the error message and we are terminating the program. When the file is opened successfully, what we can do is we can use this function in order to write string values. So here it will be fputs, and then first we have to provide the pointer to the string that we want to display. If you want, I can directly specify the string literal here. For example, I will say learning lad rocks, and then we have to provide the file stream. In this example, we want to write the data to the file pointed by this file pointer fp. So I'm going to mention that here. Now, if I save this program and if I run this, nothing happens in the terminal. But if I open up the output.txt, you guys can see the string value that we have specified. Now here, this function is pretty much similar to the puts function, which is used to write the data to the standard output or the terminal or the screen. For example, here I can say subscribe for more tutorials. Now if I save this program and if I run this, what happens is this puts function will display the text on the standard output, which will be the terminal. Now if I save this and if I run this, we get subscribe for more tutorials. That is the content that we have specified. Now what I will do is I will copy this and I will paste it again. And then again for the fputs, I will copy this and paste it again. So what we are doing is we are writing learning lad rocks 2 times to the file, and then we are displaying subscribe for more tutorials 2 times. Now if I save this program and if I run this, now here make a note that we get subscribe for more tutorials in one line, and in the next line we get subscribe for more tutorials. So here what the puts function has done is, after displaying the text that we have mentioned, it has inserted a new line. So whatever that we display next after this puts call, that will appear in the next line. But if I open up the output.txt, you guys can see the contents are written in the same line. Now this is the one difference between the puts and fputs. So here the puts function will automatically insert a new line in the end, but the fputs function will not include or insert that new line. If you want to insert a new line, then you have to specify that by using the /n. So something like this. Now if I save this program and if I run this, again we can see we get in the standard output we get the values in 2 separate lines. And if I open up the file now, we guys can see the content is displayed in separate lines. The puts function will display the data on the standard output. With this fputs, we can specify the file stream. If I want, I can also specify the standard output as the file stream to write the data. For example, here, instead of this file pointer, I can say stdout, that is the standard output. Now, what I will do is I will save this program, and if I run this, you guys can see here we get learning lad rocks, subscribe for more tutorials twice. So if I come back to the output.txt, we have learning lad rocks only once. So the first puts function here, it has successfully returned the data to the standard output stream, which is the terminal. The second fputs function has returned the data to the file. So that is the difference between the puts and the fputs. Now the next thing that we're gonna see here is the puts function will stop writing the data when it encounters the string termination character. So when I have this string here, in the end, there will be a string termination character automatically inserted. But in the middle of this string, if there is any string termination character, then the fputs function will stop right there. For example, if I insert a string termination character here after this learning lad and space, and if I run this program now, what happens is we get nothing on the terminal, but if I open up the output.txt, we can only see learning lad and then a space. The reason for that is when the puts function sees this string termination character, it stops. The string termination character will not be returned to the file stream, but if it encounters in the middle of the string or in the end, the function stops. In the end of the string, there will be the string termination character, but if we provide it in the middle, something like this, then also it will stop. So now the next thing that we see here is about the return value of this fputs function. When there are no errors, this function returns a non-negative value. If any error occurs, then it will return EOF, which is equivalent to -1. So what I will do is I will use the printf function just to display the return value of this fputs. So here I'm going to say %d, and then I will call the fputs function here, and we will write this data to the file. So if I save this program and if I run this, we get 0 here. It is a non-negative value, which means that the function has successfully executed. So here what I have done is I have printed the return value of this fputs using the printf. So that is the one thing that you have to remember. Now the next thing is with the functions like fprintf, they will return the number of characters they have successfully written on the file stream. But with the fputs, it is not the case. It returns a non-negative value on success. If any error occurs, it returns EOF, which is equivalent to -1. So this is it for this particular video. I want you guys to experiment with this code, try to do different things so that you will learn more. And that's it. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. If you have anything to say, write that in the comment box. For more tutorials, subscribe to the channel.